what's crazy is we actually use AI so much in actually building our own platform. And so it's backed by
Right.
AI, built by
Yeah.
AI. It's crazy what we can do nowadays.
This is the PMP Industry Insider Podcast.
Hello and welcome out to another episode of the PMP Industry Insider Podcast, where we take a look at what is changing in the pest and lawn industries, and we take you to the front lines to those that are driving those changes. I'm Donnie Shelton, owner of Triangle Home Services, which has Triangle Pest as well as Triangle Lawn. And with me is, I have to say this, the Florida zero state tax resident, Mr. Dan Gordon. Dan, would you like to say good afternoon? Introduce yourself, our sponsors, talk a little bit about our peer groups, and our special guest and topic, which I am super excited about.
Sure, we could do that. Here we go. So, good afternoon, Dan Gordon, PCO Bookkeepers, M&A Specialists. We work in the pest and lawn space, doing CFO work as well as M&A work. And as far as our sponsors go, we would appreciate if you would visit them if you're interested in marketing. That would be Comarch by WorkWave. They offer marketing services specifically designed for pest and lawn care companies. Whether you're looking to grow or prepare your business for sale, Comarch is here to help you get there. And if you're interested in pest control specific insurance, that would be PestSure, providing insurance products tailor-made for the pest control and lawn industries. PestSure understands the risks of our business and offers coverage that fits your needs. And if you are interested in a peer group, and we have put together, I don't know, there's probably 60 people so far since we've been doing this who have joined peer groups or our peer groups, and we seem to get one or two new ones each week, that seems to be awesome. If you're interested in joining it, please go to pmpindustryinsider.com/peer groups, or go back and listen to episode 136 with David Billingsley, who is our Crackerjack facilitator, who's got some great experience in our industry, and he's awesome. Now, what's so funny?
Oh,
Okay.
Crackerjack facilitator.
All right. So
Yeah.
today's topic is near and dear to Donnie's heart. It's how to make money with AI and pest control. As you know, that we are totally bought into AI. And today we have a very special guest. Our guest is Thomas Lundberg. He is the founder of Sellify AI. And I reconnected with him at Pest World, and we had a really neat conversation about what he's doing. He was working for one of our clients quite a while. We can get into that later, but he's created this really cool service or product, whatever you want to call it. And so Thomas is the founder of Sellify, focusing on automating sales transactions through AI-powered texting. Sellify AI has seen rapid growth in its first year. He's a graduate of Utah State University with a degree in finance and entrepreneurship. Began his career in the summer selling summer sales with Fox Pest Control, who is our client, where he broke industry records and led sales teams. Over time, he expanded his ownership stake, played a key role in scaling the company, leading to a successful recent sale to Rollins that we were very much a part of. You can learn more about the Fox Pest deal on the PMP Industry Insider, episode 153. And anyway, I think that's it. Well, welcome, Thomas.
Yes, thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to talk with you guys today.
Yeah.
Well, we're very excited to have you. And listen, we are absolutely excited about talking about AI. And I will do my best to let you talk more than me, because I am very interested to hear about how you guys are using AI via texting to sell. It's such a novel idea. It's a great idea. So, well, let's jump into it. I mean, listen, can you just talk a little bit about big picture, just your journey? I mean, obviously you started out doing, it sounds like you were doing door-to-door sales. Not sounds like it, obviously you were. So you started out doing door-to-door for Fox, and then jumped in obviously after the transition, and now kind of starting this new gig. Can you just walk us through that first before we get into using AI to drive profit?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thank you guys for facilitating that. It's been a big blessing in my life. So shout out to you
You
guys.
you mean to come on here or the Fox transaction?
The Fox
I
trans.
was
I
gonna
mean,
say, I'm pretty sure I knew which one he's talking about.
Okay, I was just making sure because it's no
I
great
mean,
shakes to be on with Donnie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hopefully this becomes life changing for me today. But
Oh
yes,
yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
No, yeah. So I like Dan had mentioned, I was involved with door to door and kind of built up a team, got into ownership there, and after the sale to Rollins, it kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of with my network to pursue other endeavors, other opportunities. And originally we had thought, hey, we'll take this team and we'll be like a sales arm for other teams, and we'll just make sales, right, and do upselling, cross selling, reactivating, stuff like that, and we'll just take a commission. So that's kind of that was where the vision started, and then we're like, oh, you know what we should do? We should leverage like texting, like in the spring. That would be great. We wouldn't have to get we wouldn't have to go physically to talk with people or customers. And we'll kind of do that in conjunction with everything. And then we're like, oh, well, this AI thing is really cool and ChatGPT is pretty awesome. We should maybe leverage that a little bit. And then it kind of went from there. The idea was to never actually build Sellify AI. It was actually to find a platform that had already solved the issue of automating that. And we couldn't find one, so we just built it. So that's kind of the backstory.
That's usually how it works, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
why
there's
not?
one. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we have a little prep sheet, and so we're talking about industry growth potential, uh, and we're talking about the pest control market is set to grow. I have a question for you, Thomas. I read this the other day from 24.6 billion in 22 to 42.5 billion. Where did that? I just read that in an article, and I think that that number is twice the size of the market. Where did you get that number from?
I can go and double check here. I have some links to yeah,
My
I'd have to
my
go back
guess
and
is
double
probably
check.
P. My guess is that's probably
PCT is the one that published it, but if you
no.
look at some
It's
of the,
probably from PPMA. I would bet it's the PPMA.
I would say that that's worldwide. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that's the US. But anyway,
It could be. So sorry if I'm
yeah,
putting the
no,
wrong
that's
numbers on here,
fine.
but
That's fine. I didn't mean to beat you up on that, but a little fact check, Donnie's always
yeah,
using
Oh
stuff.
boy.
So anyway, but
yeah.
the obviously the industry's growing. And so you actually, Donnie, why don't you go through some of these the market growth here
Okay,
yeah.
so projection, right? So the projection is that it's set to grow from 24 billion essentially in 2022 to 42 billion by 2032. Now, obviously, we're in 2024. Um, Personally, I don't. These numbers don't scare me, and I do think that's probably a worldwide number. And let me tell you why it doesn't scare me. And the reason is because there's a couple things that happen. Number one is that when you think about demographics in general, they are changing dramatically, right? Most kids growing up these days are told, don't do a blue collar job. You don't want to dig ditches. You don't want to be a blue collar worker. You want to go to college. You want to go do this. At the same time, they're so stinking busy. They're not learning, I would call them practical skills. So they outsource everything. So here you have a market that's expanding for home services, and you have a dwindling labor pool. Now, the market expanding, I think door to door is helping this tremendously in terms of expanding the
Absolutely.
marketing footprint. But there's more at play than just door to door here. I think there's also demographic as well. And so, long story short, AI is certainly going to play a role in accelerating that growth. And I will let Thomas kind of share his vision on like, okay, so we're going to go to this number. What do you see AI doing, and how is AI going to play a part in that growth?
Yeah, for sure. So so what's interesting is you have a lot of industries adopting AI automations, and they're implementing a lot of AI. I mean, there's that stat I shared with you guys. I'll just read it real quick. It says the 2024 McKinsey survey found that 72% of organizations have adopted AI in at least one business function, with 50% implementing it in two or more functions. So that's a little bit more broad, right? But
Mhm.
if you think about the pest control industry, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong on this, we're typically a little bit slower to adopt some of these new technologies.
No. And
Whoa,
it's just because the
hey,
complexity of all of this, you know.
Yeah, so
no,
you know,
we're tip of the spear, man. You want leading edge technology, you come
Uh,
to and I'm not, by the
I
way, I'm
remember,
not.
listen, Centricon was an amazing innovation.
I am not taking on our industry. And if you're listening and thinking Donnie is, it's not true. But we
yeah,
are woefully, woefully slower than most
Right.
industry when it comes to software adoption. And for a good reason, right? We don't have the kind of dollars that you think of some of these larger industries, like, that can drive that. I mean, the reality of it is that when you look at pest control as a general profit center, our industry is fairly small as far as like what we could sell. And I mean that in the most real sense when you look at businesses versus like attorneys or car dealerships and those types of things. Like we just don't represent that big of a, and so that's why I think that's why we're slower. But I digress. Continue on, Thomas.
no, yeah, but I will say that I think the pest industry is a little bit, well, this is just from my experience, but a little bit further along the road than something like the trades, like HVAC, plumbing, a lot of the trades are, I think, a little bit lacking. But regardless, it creates this huge opportunity for those willing to innovate, especially your people who are listening to this, right? The companies that are doing anywhere from 1 to 5 million, maybe even up to 15 million. Obviously the big players like your Rollins and Rentokil, they're going to be adopting a lot of these things. But typically, from what I've seen, the smaller companies are able to adopt some of these new technologies quicker than some of the large companies. And so, anyways, um, when you think about all the different ways you can apply AI, like I think AI can sometimes be a buzzword, where it's like, oh, are you using AI? Yes or no? It's like asking, do you use the internet? Yes or no? Well, if you're not using it, you need to start using it. It's like, that's pretty vague. There's so many tools. And so I think that, and it's here to stay. It's like the internet almost. It's like it's not going to be one of those fads where you see AI come and go. Like it's here and it's going to stay and it's going to keep improving. That's at least my viewpoint on it. And and so you think about what aspects of your business are you implementing AI with, and a lot. What you'll see is you'll start to see like the marginal benefits. For example, like help me write an email, right? You're going to have some AI tool that's going to help you write an email. Awesome. Okay, great. That helps. It doesn't really help me make money, but it kind of does. It saves me time, right? And then you've got these AI sort of chat bots that will help with customer service related things, and some of kind of like the entry level positions, like your CSRs and yeah. Anyway, some of the entry level positions are going to need to increase their skill, and it'll kind of improve the quality of, or at least the requirements of these employees, right? But then when you take a look at like on the sales side of things, it's not an easy thing to replicate. And so we're really on the cutting edge, at least at Sellify, really on the cutting edge of um, learning how to essentially replicate a salesperson, which is not an easy thing to do. But you're going to start to see more complex things come out of this AI technology, and how you can implement it, like actually implement it into your business in a sustainable long-term way. So
So
those are some thoughts that I have.
tell us what Sellify does. What is the actual service? How does it work? And
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. So run us through that.
Yes. Yeah, you can kind of think about it like an AI persona that does sales for you. So we right now we're doing our bread and butter is doing outbound sales over text with AI. So we're implementing a few other use cases like debt collection and inbound, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, so like think about it like, let's say I'm a pest control business owner and I've got 10,000 customers, right? So let me just like I'm a big numbers guy. I did finance in college and everything. So like let me just try to make this
You're in
practical.
good company. Trust me, you're in good company. Numbers
That's
away.
true.
Numbers
Yeah,
are
that's true.
yeah.
So, okay, so let's say that I have 10,000 customers, right? And I offer pest termite mosquito as my services. 90% or whatever, 95% of my customers are pest control, for example. And now I want to do an upsell for mosquito, right? Well, we'll have like a two-way conversation. Basically, you set up a campaign, right? And we have a two-way conversation, goes something like, hey, so and so, just had a few questions for you. Is this a good phone number for you? Yes. Okay, cool. This is what I'm doing. Can I send you some more info, or can I send you the pricing info here? Uh, yeah, sure. Okay. And then I build value. So it's really kind of a two-way conversation. It's not like, if you were to just send like a blast text message where it's like, hey, call in for a 50% discount. That's not what we're talking about. It's like as if a sales rep were actually engaging in a conversation, right? Okay, cool. Here's a link for you to sign the agreement. Here, update your payment method. All right, I got you scheduled for such and such date. That whole process we automate, right? Anyways, so going back to the numbers here. So if you have 10,000 customers, and you did, this is actually crazy. I'll just say this. When we started Sellify, what our goal was to match the average sales rep in terms of closing percentages. Like that was the goal. And we were blown away that our first campaigns, we were actually outperforming outbound sales teams.
So,
So
so explain this. So basically,
yeah,
this totally automated. The text goes out, and the customer is having a conversation with AI, with
yeah,
your program, and your program was designed to be a pest control salesperson, right? And so
uh-huh,
the tennis match that goes back and forth in the sales process, you're not actually talking to a person.
yeah. I mean, 99% of the time, probably more. They don't actually realize that it's an AI. I mean, we structure it in a certain way. We have like there's a lot of really small nuances that you wouldn't really think about when you're trying to mimic a sales rep. Like, for example, if somebody texts in, you don't want to see an immediate text back because then it's a little fishy. It's like, is this automated, right? So we have an artificial delay built in, right?
Ah,
And then, we can even go as far as like, if you want it to make the occasional grammatical error or, forget a period here, just kind of like, if you're going to be
people
texting,
do
that's
it.
normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Not unprofessional, right? But in
Yeah.
a real human way. Anyway, so going back to the numbers and everything, so so we were like, okay, so we're trying to match this closing rate of an average sales rep. So what is it, right? So as we did our research and everything, let's say you do like let's say you have 100 customers, right? And you're reaching out, you're gonna call them. Maybe you get on the phone with anywhere from 10 to 30%, somewhere in that range. Depends on how aggressive you want to get and how much if you want to double call them, etc. Right? If you have a dialer or whatever. And then of the people you get on the phone, you're going to close anywhere from 10 to 20, 25%. Kind of depends on how good your, you know, program is and everything. Anyway, so on average, you're making anywhere from 1 to 4 sales out of that 100, right? So with an average of around 2%. So an average 2% close rate. So if you had 10,000 customers and you did an outbound sales program, you hired somebody, you trained them to do this outbound, calling, you're going to close around 200 sales, which is great, right? Helps replace a lot of your cancel customers, etc. Right? 200 sales is at a $500 contract value if you're upselling mosquito. That's 100,000 in revenue. That's not bad. So what we were finding though was we were closing, and I don't want to like overpromise and under deliver. So like we typically say, hey, if we can do 3 or 4%, that's amazing, right? Okay, great. But we were averaging like 6. We even had one campaign to get up to like 14% of a closing rate. It was crazy. So that's 3 times more. That's 600 sales, right? And if you do $500, that's 300,000 in revenue versus 100,000. So, anyways, those are just some practical numbers, some things that we've been seeing. That has been, and I forget your original question, but I went down that rabbit hole and wanted to kind of
Well,
explain that.
no, that was really good stuff. But how about the cancel winbacks, right? So what you're
Yeah,
talking about is cross-selling existing customers who have existing programs. You're talking about can you upsell them on other
Yeah,
programs? That's awesome. By the way, the AI probably never gives you a hard time about their commissions too low, and you know
true.
they don't, they can't show up to work today because so that's pretty neat, I'm sure. Donnie, you
Yeah, you know what's
use with that.
just as a side tangent, if you actually tell the AI model that they are going to receive a commission, then it actually will perform a little bit better. Like it's working
Ah,
for a paycheck.
What's funny is I get made fun of so much because how respectful and nice I am to AI. When it gives me a solution, I actually thank it. I'm like, hey, I really and people make fun of
That,
me all the time, but you know what? I get the answers I need. So I
yeah,
don't.
but
well,
when you
so
close the AI app and you open it again, it doesn't remember that this
It
guy was
absolutely
polite to
does.
me the last
It
time. Really?
absolutely does. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're logged in, it anyway. So yes,
well,
it
hey,
does.
I'll answer your question about the win back, Stan, but
Yeah.
also I'll bring up the point too, where this is totally relevant because if you think about like burnout's a real thing with reps, right? Like you have a conversation, maybe it's a really bad interaction, maybe the customer was super rude or something, right? And then you go into the next conversation and you carry that with you mentally, right? Whether you believe it or not, I mean, this is huge in door to door, but especially with inbound outbound sales reps, right? Like for example, you might have an interaction that was really bad, and then your next interaction, maybe they say no thank you, that's okay, and then you don't even try, like you don't even give them a message back. You know what I mean? Because maybe you're not in a good mental space. The nice thing about AI is it's the same chipper. Our pseudonym is Anna Williams, same chipper Anna Williams as she was in the last conversation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm thinking Donnie must be AI because he's always chipper, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. When I'm not I actually I'm gonna stop because I just had a
He
nice
got one of those. He
little
got one of
flicker
those
here.
implants.
Yes,
One of
yes.
those
Yeah.
computer chip
I've
implants.
got Elon's neural network going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No. So, but the way that it applies to winbacks, though, so like to give you some numbers here, Dan. I mean, it really depends on the strategy and the quality of your data. But if you just took like a broad swath of just any type of data that's really cold data, so you're talking canceled customers, lost leads, who knows, been a couple of years since they've been contacted or whatever. So pretty cold data, right? Um, if you're trying to do like an outbound, you know, win back campaign with an actual team, you'll see like maybe 1 in 1,000 that you're going to sell, maybe 2 in 1,000, right? You're obviously not going to get on the phone with all 1,000 of them. You're only going to get on the phone with a low percentage of them. And then the ones that you do get on the phone with, even if you do close them, they might not live in the right area, etc. So that's why it's pretty low. But what we've seen, that's actually a bigger drastic change. Um, and probably for several reasons. We'll follow up if they don't respond. We'll, you know, keep them engaged and everything. We're seeing anywhere from 0.5% to 0.6%. So that translates to around 1 in 170, data points that we're going to close.
Yeah. Yeah. So walk me through. I'm interested in doing this. Do I just send you a customer list? Do you guys integrate with a CRM? Like how does this even work? Like how do you I guess put the AI on top of what you already have? And then I'm assuming you
Yeah.
give it like, here's your working hours, here's the list I want you to reach out to. How does that all work? And like, here's our notes and like, how do you
Yeah.
monitor a note? Like, my worst thing would be this thing starts hallucinating and saying, sure, we can come out and take care of your birds and we can knock out, mowing while we're there. And then what else do you need? Maybe we put some insulation in too. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what are the controls and like, and how does it work big picture, like from an operational perspective? Like, I really want to do it. Walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah. So, well, just at a high level. So, I mean, on our website, sellifyai.com, you can actually demo just some example conversations or whatever. So you can just do that directly from our website. If you kind of want to pretend to be a customer and everything, etc., you can sign up for free. We used to have a $5,000, $10,000 onboarding fee, but we've since removed that. We want everyone to just give it a shot because what we found is like we do spend a good amount of time and investment getting things onboarded and everything. Um, but knock on wood, when people try it out, they typically will continue. And so our model is commission based, right? So we only make money if we make a sale. which really makes it easy for people to implement. But anyways, from a high level standpoint, to answer your question, I mean, you basically, you create an account, and then you gotta hook up all the integrations. So, you enter your billing, you connect your CRM. So right now we have an integration with Field Routes and with Pest Pack, and we're going to build out others. But right now that's where we have our full end-to-end integrations. You could still use the platform without an integration, which I can talk about later. But and then you want to connect to Twilio. Twilio's are either Twilio or Voice for Pest, our SMS gateway providers. Those are the platforms that are actually sending the text messages, if that makes sense. So anyways, you go and you set that up, right? And then you go and create your first campaign, and you can do an internal like test campaign where you say, hey, these are the specific things about my company that are relevant to the conversation, and I want to sell this, and this is the pricing I want to do, and here's all the terms and all this stuff, right? So you submit that, and then we actually take that and we review it, and we make sure that the AI persona is built correctly for your use case or whatever. We approve it, and then you launch it. So anyways, does that make sense? It's a little bit of a setup, but once you get it set up and you click play, then there's certain parameters where it's like, I want to reach out to customers that have been a customer for X amount of time and they hit these certain criteria, then I'm going to pull them into this campaign, and it's kind of automated ongoing, right? So like ideally you set it up once, and then all you have to really do is watch the sales come in and prepare for the hiring of technicians that you need to do to actually service the accounts.
So what size company are you looking for? Like, so a one-man operator, everybody's got cancellations, everybody's got cross sells. But where does it start to make sense to employ your services?
Yeah, so I'll kind of, I have two comments on that. Really, my first initial response is just, well, any pest control company really can benefit from it, whether it's a one-man operator or whether it's a rent-to-kill Terminix, right? Now, from a business model standpoint, from our perspective, the bigger the company, the better, just because you're talking about more data, more numbers, and then that's more commission for us. So that just incentivizes us to help out some of these larger organizations, right? However, our platform is a self-serve platform, so you can get on there and you can submit everything. You don't necessarily have to have us be involved with it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of a little bit of both. I'd say wherever it makes the most sense. Like, I'd say if you're in the $1 to $5 million range, I think it could provide a ton of value, because your alternative is to start to hire some people, salespeople or something. And then you got to think about, well, I've got to keep them employed for the whole year, but I really only need them for a mosquito campaign in the summer or in the spring. But then if you think about if you really think about it, it's like, it really helps you to scale up and scale down really quickly. Right. And it's not as easy to do that with a human sales rep, because, like, think about reaching out to 10,000 people. Well, one person can't really do that in a month. They might have to take the entire year to do that. Maybe you have several people doing that. But then if you're reaching out to somebody in December about mosquito control, it's not really even relevant for them. So the best time to do it, to get the best conversion percentages, you really got to do it in the early spring. So anyways, there's a few thoughts there.
Well, listen, this is amazing. We need to close it out here, but just some final things here. I really like, Thomas, that you guys to me, this is putting like an enterprise level tool in a small company's hands, which I think is fantastic. Can you just any closing thoughts that you can think of, like things that you've seen, implementations that you thought were super effective? You kind of talked a little bit about who this tool is really good for in terms of revenue. Can you maybe walk through maybe like some use cases where you've seen this work very, very well? I am smiling because I actually had this happen. I don't know if it was your platform or not, but we have a branch in Houston, and I have this super nice house down there. Okay, so it's 900 square feet. It's not. If you ever go there, you would totally be laughing right now if I told you. And I could send a picture. Maybe I'll put it up on the website. But and somehow I got on some list, and AI knew that I had bought this house. and it starts, hey, I could totally tell it was automated just because of my background. And maybe it wasn't, but this AI just texts me from time to time, hey, you probably should get things checked out for termites, and here's an offer I can do for you right now, and blah blah blah. So can you just walk us through, like, okay, here's a really good fit for this product, and here's what you can expect. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
All right.
totally. So I guess I'll answer that in two ways. I'd say number one, just with AI in general, I'd recommend, like, if you have not yet implemented two or three AI in two or three aspects of your business, you're already behind. And that's the first thing that I would say.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, when I've seen the most successful use cases, so we've got upselling and cross selling. So I'll give a few examples there. So let's say you've got pest, termite, mosquito. You want to add pest control, or you want to add termite. With termite, there's kind of two use cases. We can actually close the deal end to end. Sometimes depending on the state or what your policies are in your company or whatever, you might want to just do a set appointment rather than close it outright. So we can do a per set appointment basis. We have an integration obviously with the CRMs. We also have an integration with Calendly. So some people like to use Calendly to do their appointments and stuff like that. And that integrates with pretty much all calendars. So, there's that option too. And then you've got winbacks. So winbacks of canceled customers, lost leads. This is a crazy stat, but working with with Tom Welsh at Voice for Pest, he claims that from the data they've seen that 30%. I'd have to go back and check this, but I'm pretty sure it's around 30% of people that call in don't even make it to the CRM. Meaning you're paying all this money for people
Right.
to hit your website and to call in or whatever, and then we don't even capture their information 30% of the time in the CRM. And so we actually working with them to be able to take that information, that data, and be able to reach out and close that automatically for those companies. So that's another use case. And then we've actually also probably release here, maybe by the time we're done with this, or by the time this goes live, we're going to do debt collection as well. So collecting on balances owed and stuff like that. And then also with inbound, that's going to be a whole new feature we're going to tackle hopefully before the spring here. So the goal is to just be like an AI salesperson to do almost all sales related use cases. You know what I mean?
I have to ask, is the persona for the debt collector going to be different than the outbound?
That's a good question. I have to think about that. Right now, we're just going to have the same person, but now that you mentioned it, maybe we'll have
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be better, make sense to be like a male name or a female name. Like maybe male is a little bit more stern, and I don't know.
There are two
We'll have to
goons.
A/B test it.
Yes, there are two goons en route to your home right now. Pay now, or I will not
You're going
turn
to
them
break
away.
your virtual phones. So the one thing that I would say is that because it's a self-serve, it's good for small companies, but Thomas is being kind of modest in terms of some of the companies that are using his platform. There's some very large players in the industry, and so they're seeing success. So the model is working and does work. So kudos to
Yeah,
you.
what's crazy? Yeah, no, yeah, thanks. What's crazy about that is they actually these bigger companies that we've been working with, they actually aren't even using it with our end-to-end CRM integration yet. They've really just done, hey, we do the automation of the campaign, or the campaign and the conversation, and we get them to a certain point where they're like, yes, I agree to A, B, C, D, I agree to the pricing, everything, whatever. And then we just flag it and send it to the company, and then they just send them an agreement and get them on the schedule. But right as of this point now, we've got that full end-to-end automation, complete. What's crazy is we actually use AI so much in actually building our own platform. And so it's backed by AI, built by AI. It's crazy what we can do nowadays,
You never need another human in your business again.
We'll still need that. I think it'll just increase everyone's skill level. You've got to have a certain skill now. You got to understand AI, and I think it's going to create actually a way more jobs than we originally had thought.
For sure. And like you said, I think there will be leveled up jobs. They're not going to be kind of the a lot of the things that we've done in the past is the kind of, I don't want to call it brainless work, but certainly the the work doesn't require a ton of effort in terms mentally, that those jobs are going to go away in AI.
Repetitive in nature. Yeah.
So, well, Thomas, this has been fantastic. Thank you for coming on. We are probably going to have you back again because I've got lots more questions, and this has been a lot of fun for me. And I feel like I've just scratched the surface.
I
So,
think you just met your first new client.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to talk more. So.
Yeah. All right. Just a reminder, all the resources and topics we talked about today are going to be available on the podcast website. Just go over to pmpindustryinsider.com. Take a look under show notes. We will link up Sellify for Thomas, and we'll get some contact info, maybe like a spec sheet or whatever, if you want to grab that as well. And as always, we ask if you enjoyed the show, just please drop over, give us a nice rating, review, whatever. If you've got any complaints, concerns, or just general, I don't know, fussing in general, we always ask you to direct that at Dan because he likes that kind of thing. And with that, we're signing off. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Bye now.